Okay, I'd like to say again, welcome, welcome, and welcome. And again, this is Herbs for Healing, Part 2. Okay, Science of Herbs, Part 2. Okay, no better way to start than with a reminder that the herbs, the things that grow, the fruit on the trees, all of these are for our benefit, according to the scripture. In the book of Tehillim, or Psalm 104:14, speaks of the herb, speaks of Yahweh, the creator, giving us what is needed for our benefit, causes the grass to grow for the cattle and plants for the service of mankind, to bring forth food from the earth. And that was given in Psalm. Now, the last book, the last chapter of the last book in the Bible says in Revelation 22:2, in the middle of the street, on either side of the river, was a tree of high life, which bore 12 fruits, each tree yielding its fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. The leaves will be for the healing of the nations in the future, and they're given for the healing of the nations now. Nature has a pharmacy, huge, expansive, full of variety. Nature's pharmacy is so unique that every place on earth has its own unique cornucopia of plants and herbs for the benefit of healing. And one of the things that we want to do while learning about herbs is become very familiar with the herbs in our environment, no matter where we live. There is a history of herbs in your environment, in your country, in your state, in your locale that has benefit for you. To learn those. Most of the people of the past generations have this information, and it's been discarded somewhat because of modernization and technology. But we should seek to gain this knowledge from that generation before it passes away. The familiarity with the herbs and the healing trees in our environment. And definitely, as you can see in this picture here, many of the herbs can actually be turned into portals for storage or has storage capacity. We have capsules made from flowers or from crushed herbs. We have oils and salves used from the active compounds from herbs. These are ways that you can actually create your own medical chest and have things on hand and ready in your house that are all natural to apply to any situation that might occur, or persons in the family, of course. As we go through the night, these are the contents that we're going to be looking at. First, introduction to herbal cures, then categories of herbs and examples of each, herbal preparations, I mean, this you like, and then incorporating herbs in cooking. Okay, and then we have the conclusion, and hopefully we have time for questions and answers. So I do encourage, as Dr. Cardi said, if you do have a pressing question while we're going through the presentation, please feel free to do a hands up or notification. And remember, Dr. Cardi, I cannot see the hands up. So if you give me a cue that there is a question, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yes, will do.
Nature's medicine. Herbs are the basis for all medicine. Its compounds are synthesized in modern times to produce modern medicine. The major difference between natural herbs and synthesized replacements is the lack of chemical balance found in nature, which discourages side effects that are present in the synthesized. As an introduction, we use this. Most of us are familiar to some degree with the use of herbs as medicine. To many of the generations before us, herbs were the only known and original form of medicine. The Caribbean peoples refer to this type of medicine as bush medicine, yes, a name derived from the fact that it is medicine made from preparations of bush, as some may call it. Nonetheless, the process of using bush or herbs, that is, leaves, stem, barks, flowers, roots, and sometimes sap, constitute a science called herbology. We're going to move straight into categories and classifications. We started some in part one, and we are going to continue adding to that which you received in part two. Continuing the classification of herbs from part one presentation, I'll follow up with more details of herbal uses and applications. The classifications help us in selecting herbs for specific addresses being certain conditions, or to induce cures for certain situations, illnesses. And these classifications are based on the characteristic property in which the herb is actually classified. The follow will be the classifications, definitions of the classifications, and a list of herbs falling within the classification. And we will begin with stimulants. Now, stimulants are herbs that increase stimulus to the system. And we as human beings are a system. We're called an organism. We are made up of systems. And stimulants actually stimulates and increases a stimulus, an increase, a synergy into the system, and also is very good in increasing blood circulation. So basically, you want something to stimulate, especially blood circulation. These are your herbs, and they're classified as stimulants. All mints, peppermint, spearmint, etc., all mints are stimulants. And you'd find that some of these herbs, as we go through the classifications, would come up again in other classifications. That is because the contribution from the properties of these herbs are so varied that you can actually use them in certain situations for exactly what they're classified for. If the classification overlaps, then you can use it in the overlap. Continuing with the herbs, we have all the mints, cloves, parsley, balm of Gilead, anise, hyssop, sage, ginger, rosemary, valerian. All of these are plants, herbs, ginseng, raspberry, fruit, still a herb and still has benefits, nettle, cinnamon, cayenne, St. John's wort, blue cohosh, comfrey, lemon balm, and red clover. These are just some of the stimulants that will help to increase blood circulation. Some of these you might have in your environment. So remember that, for instance, mints. You might have mints growing in your backyard or growing in your kitchen. Know that there are many benefits for mints. A stimulant is one of the classifications that it holds. We now look at diuretics. Diuretic herbs increase the output of urine, taking harmful substances from the system. And that would be the urinary tract area. These are the plants that are classified as diuretics. You have the plant called chamomile, parsley, dandelion, corn silk. And that corn silk is actually the golden part that is found under the husk of the corn cob. You peel the silk off, and the silk is used. So corn silk, that portion of the corn. Then you have burdock, St. John's wort. And we saw St. John's wort in stimulants also. Pennyroyal, red raspberry, the same raspberry from stimulants also. You have thyme, sage, mullein, carrot, comfrey, asparagus, anise again, sweet basil, and strawberries. All of these are considered diuretics. And again, it increases the output of urine. Now, a classification that is very important for the season that we're in. We know that we're in the cold and flu season, and expectorants would be very, very helpful. Expectorants are herbs that causes the expulsion of mucus and breakup of congestion. So these are good to know. Herbs such as boneset, slippery elm, ginger, St. John's wort, nettle, sea moss, something that most of the Caribbean knows about, garlic, mullein, which is excellent as an expectorant, anise, horseradish, hyssop, comfrey, lemon balm, bee balm, wild cherry bark, balm of Gilead. These are some expectorants, and I assure you, having tried some of these and prepared some of these for persons, they are very, very effective, and you would get the relief that you need and a clear up of the situation without any type of side effect, of course. And most of these, when prepared, wonderful taste, especially if you like to add the raw honey to the mixture. And we're going to get into some mixtures later on. Now, astringents. And this is the list that my dear sister, Vice President Juliet Allen asked about last week. This is your list here for astringents. And astringents are herbs that are natural cleansers and are antimicrobial in nature. They also cause, when used topically, contraction or pulling together and tightening of skin. So in this category, we have witch hazel, thyme, all mints. So you see, mints and thyme are very, very versatile. We have nettle, sweet basil, cinnamon, comfrey, sage, bee balm, tansy, mullein, rosemary, excellent astringent, eyebright, white willow bark, natural painkiller also, garlic, lemon balm, borage, shepherd's purse, and calendula. These are some, and these are not exhaustive lists, but we're giving examples, especially examples of some of these herbs in the classifications that could be right in your backyard or in your kitchen cabinet, spice cabinet. So know that even though you are cooking with it, you can also use it for preparations to help you to alleviate some problems. Next on the list are the nervines. Now, the nervines are herbs that relieve a nervous irritation caused by strain and tension. A lot of the nervines are sedatives in nature and helps to relax for sleeping. In this list of nervines, we have hops, chamomile, red clover, basil, skullcap, passion flower, lobelia, motherwort, valerian, excellent nervine, blue cohosh, catnip. Some might have this in their garden. The catnip, that is, comfrey, lavender, yarrow, rosemary, lettuce. Who would have thought of lettuce as a nervine? But it is. Violet, pennyroyal, sage, chicory, heart ease, and cannabis. Yes, cannabis is indeed a sedative. It's classified as a sedative among other things. And I've had situations where persons who had very stressful situations happen that were suffering from insomnia and couldn't sleep. One lady whose father died one day, and 2 or 3 days later, mother died, both in the same week. And um, after the funeral, she was not sleeping. And in order to help, cannabis tea was her go-to. Taking small shots for an hour before she went to sleep, sweetened with honey and some lemon, and boom, had a nice sleep straight through the night undisturbed. So these are what nervines and sedatives do. And remember, when we were talking about signatures, plant signatures in part one, most of these have a purplish bluish flower that indicates that they are sedative or have sedative properties by nature. Tonics. Now, the tonics are herbs that benefit the whole body. They strengthen the organs that are affected by the digestive system. This is something that we must consider, especially tonics and all herbs. It takes time to work. Well, some work faster than others, but in most cases, natural cures take time to work. When dealing with natural treatments, especially if it is over a period of time, it is recommended that you continue the process of administering the herbs until the system is adjusted or the desired outcome is achieved. Among these, we find herbs such as the corn silk that I already described, that some of you might already know, is that golden silk thread-like item between the husk of the corn and the corn itself. Then we have the dandelion, which has so many different uses: comfrey, rosemary, cinnamon. The golden seal, burdock, all mints, red clover, red raspberry, shepherd's purse, lemon balm, violet, cayenne pepper, excellent, ginseng, anise, nettle, willowbark, and mullein. Some of these herbs, if you cannot find them in your local area, it's only to order it online. And what you would look for is make sure, check out the manufacturer, where the herb is coming from, how it is produced, and also, as much as possible, look for that organic label on your package before purchasing the herbs. Usually you can actually find all this information right as you are sourcing the item. And that's what you want to look for. Don't just go and purchase the herb, but make sure that you're buying quality, that you're getting what you really want. Because of the upbeat and natural approach now, there are many people commercializing on it. And there are a lot of things on the market that has a label as being something when it is not. So we have to be very careful. That's why I said source, source, source. Now we move to herbal preparations, and I think this one should be very helpful. After looking at classifications and herbs in the classifications, let's look at some herbal preparations. In part one, we looked at some forms of herbal preparations along with some herbal recipes. We looked at infusions, decoctions, tinctures, and salves. Tonight, we go a little further by introducing more recipes using some of the preparations. That is, we're going to use a combination of herbs in a recipe to either be prepared as a decoction, a tincture, a salve, or an infusion. An infusion is a tea, something we all do all the time when we're making tea. We're actually infusing the herb through water. It's being infused into the water, so it's an infusion, and that's what tea is. Tonight, like I said, the recipes will be according to complaint or disorder. Whatever the complaint is or the situation, that is what the preparation will be made for. This is being recorded, so we will try to get the second recording out to you as quickly as possible so that you do have this information if you're not taking notes right now. We started beauty preparation, so I hope the women on the platform are very, very pleased. And I know some of you men will be too. Acne, teenagers, simple. Clean your face thoroughly, then apply fresh onion juice to the area. Use cotton ball, cotton swab, and what you do is actually use the juice, put it on your face, leave on for 15 minutes, rinse well. Onions are very astringent. So what it will do, it has antimicrobial properties. So it will definitely cleanse the face, tighten the skin, and force out whatever is causing the acne. Give it a good cleanse, and that is better. That try before going to the dermatologist if your acne situation is not so far advanced or is a little bit more than acne. Now, natural skin toner. I'm talking about natural skin toner and not bleaching cream. Beauty. Simple. This will even your skin tone. Mix 2 tablespoons of turmeric to sufficient honey to create a creamy paste. Simple use. Simply apply this mixture to your face as a mask. Leave on for half hour to an hour. Then rinse face thoroughly after each daily application. Then after you've done that, pat dry and apply vitamin E oil to face as a moisturizer. In a few days, you'll be surprised how those black spots, those dark spots, those discolorations actually disappear. This is a recipe that I found is very common in India. The women use a lot of this type mixture for skin toning. Now, and okay, we go to other herbs like the aloe vera and the parsley. Again, plants that you might have right in your yard. If not, you picked it up in the food store, pretty sure. Skincare. This is a treatment for boils popping up on your skin. 1 handful of crushed parsley leaves and get my okay. Sorry. 1 handful of crushed parsley leaves wrapped in cheesecloth. Apply to the boil. Wrap it in a hot cloth. So what you have is you're making what is called a poultice, and you are putting the crushed parsley leaves, crushing it real until you have some of the chlorophyll coming out even through the cloth. So that once you put it onto the boil, you wrap it on the boil, and then you'd add a hot cloth on that, and you would repeat it, covering it with a hot cloth. And I'm not saying hot enough to burn your skin, but hot to penetrate the cheesecloth and the poultice of parsley and get it to the boil. And that would either bring the boil to a head, cause the eruption without having to pick it. And that's a dangerous thing. I have a story here. Doing some gardening almost 15, 20 years ago, I had blisters and I picked it with a needle, and that needle itself was infected. And within a week, my hand was swollen because the infection had spread. I thought it was nothing, but I almost lost my hand because of it. It's a good thing that I had a good friend who was a medical doctor, and he took good care of it for me by gauzing it, a painful process. But you want to make sure that you don't use a foreign object. The thing I'm trying to get across, do not use a foreign object to burst the boil. Use a natural way for it to naturally come to a head and burst it by itself. Save yourself a problem. It was costly to keep my hand, but it was worth it. It's even more beneficial to avoid it. Now we look at a psoriasis treatment, and we're using burdock root in this recipe. 1 cup of burdock root in 1 pint of water. And this is a decoction, you're boiling it. You're bringing this to a boil. Then you reduce the heat and let it simmer for 30 minutes after it reaches the boiling point. Strain, and then you apply it to the affected area several times a day. Natural psoriasis treatment. And then for burn treatment, the most simple recipe. keep aloes in the kitchen. As soon as you get a burn, cut open the aloe leaf, apply it immediately to the burn, relieves the pain, and prevents scarring. This was one of the suggestions that Dr. Cardi presented in part one. Just a reminder, keeping a small aloe plant in the kitchen is a plus. You have something for when you get a burn, an accident, break off a piece and apply it right away. You'll be amazed to know that the little inflammation that comes up and the darkening of the skin does not occur if you put that aloe on as soon as you get the burn. And that's no exaggeration. All right, now we're moving into chest complaints, colds and flus. And as you can see, what we have here on the left, that's our native thyme. That's what we cook with. But that herb there has many, many medicinal benefits. And you can learn one of them is for actually treating colds and flus. Now, the plant on the right, sorry, is a picture of the mullein. Now, this plant is exceptional. I have never seen a real mullein plant. I normally have to order my mullein, dried mullein leaves and have it imported. But as an expectorant, wow, it does what it's supposed to do. Very, very effective. So now that we come to cold and chest complaints, we look at cold remedy, and that's using a mullein flower infusion. And notice I show you a plant, but we're talking about the flower. So both the leaves and the flower are beneficial, and both have expectorant properties. The mullein flower infusion relieves coughing and soothes mucous membrane lining in the throat. 1 handful of mullein flowers and 1 pint of boiling water. Allow to steep for 15 minutes. And this is not a decoction, so you don't boil it. You actually pour the boiling water over it and allow it to steep for 15 minutes. Simply strain and sweeten with honey. And this is something you would drink throughout the process until the complaint is eliminated. Here's the flu remedy. And this is the same remedy given last week and I'm repeating it this week because of its effectiveness. 2 pints of boiling water over 1 ounce of elderflowers and 1 ounce of peppermint leaves. Cover, let steep 15 minutes, strain, and drink as often as desired. You will perspire. So you want to be in a covered place and just allow your body to perspire, those pores to become unclogged and free. The perspiration will help do that. And both of these will cause perspiration. And we know that peppermint is a sedative, so it will calm you and give you relief. Now for cough syrup, and thyme is any one of these or any herb that classified as expectorant normally has the antimicrobial properties that will benefit. Thyme is one of those. Thyme cough syrup recipe: pour 1 pint of boiling water over 1 ounce of dry thyme. Cool to room temperature. Strain. Add 1 cup of honey. Yes, 1 cup of honey. Shake to mix well, and then you keep it refrigerated. 1 tablespoon several times a day for sore throats, colds, and coughing will take care of your problem. Make sure all honey used is raw, unprocessed honey. Do not use pasteurized honey. Now, we look at men and women's health. You know, we got to give something to something more to the women and something for the men. So here we go. We have 2 plants. We have the plant on the left that is called a plantain, and this was necessary to show because when I first came across plantain, being familiar with plantain, the fruit, family of banana trees, automatically that's where my mind went. But it took a while for me to understand it was not that, but this plant that we're looking at right now on our left. That is the plantain. And of course, you should recognize the pumpkin flower, the pumpkin blossom. Let's look at its uses. Tonics and digestion. Here's a women's tonic. It'll help to tone up the reproductive organs and also increases the health of tissues that relate to total health. And the ingredients in this recipe are all basically female oriented. So look at the recipes, women, and look at the ingredients, because if the leaves are being used, the fruits are beneficial too. And both can be used to alleviate some female issues or help make them tolerable, if not even eliminate. And this is a tonic, keep the reproductive organs toned up, reproductive system toned up. Mix 1/2 ounce each of strawberry leaves, plantain leaves, the plant that we just saw, raspberry leaves, and comfrey leaves. Add ginger if desired. What you want to do is you want to mix those leaves. Get them mixed up so that you have those leaves as one bunch of leaves properly combined. Then you pour 1 cup of boiling water over 1 teaspoon. Now, even though you got all those leaves, you're only using 1 teaspoon of those leaves. And you're going to pour 1 cup of boiling water because you're only making 1 cup. And a teaspoon of this mixture per cup will help you. And you'd find that if you start drinking it before menstruation, that it helps to ease the rough ride that most women experience going through the monthly period. And then in addition to that, it is toning for the female reproductive system on the whole. Okay, so I do hope that the women like this. Now we look at men's tonic. Here's a general tonic for the men. Easy, simple. To build up the entire system, especially for the prostate gland. 1 cup of boiling water, and all you need is 3 pumpkin blossoms. You pour that boiling water over the 3 pumpkin blossoms and allow it to steep, covered for 10 minutes. Strain, sweeten if you desire, and you could take it as often as you desire because there's no contraindication. The more you drink, the better. In addition to that, for men, pumpkin seeds are also loaded with zinc and magnesium, essential minerals for good prostate health. So you definitely want to get into the pumpkin issue. The blossoms, the seeds, and of course, the flesh is good to eat too. So something for the women, something for the men. Now, incorporating herbs in cooking. When you talk about incorporating herbs in cooking, I want to tell you the best results to incorporate the herbs when you're cooking. And this is something I found out studying the herbs, that there are different types of herbs that you should add to your cooking or to your pot at different times. Sometimes we season, we throw everything together one time, but some herbs should start at the beginning. Some herbs you add nearing the end, and that gives a well-rounded taste to the pot, not overwhelming and then not absent. Now, you add them at the appropriate time during cooking, depending on the type. There is a type of herb called woody or rough, and those herbs are like bay leaves. If you handle a bay leaf, whether green or dry, it's harsh. It's almost like wood. So they're called woody, but they're coarse. Those you add at the beginning. Okay, so any herb that you'd have like a bay leaf, you would add at the beginning. Any type of thing that needs hard boiling at the beginning. For the more delicate herbs like basil and cilantro, you want to add them nearing the end of your pot, and that gives your pot the richness of that herb coming in at that time. That is what the eater actually benefits from. And the herbs that you would take in is in a state at that time too, but you can still get a whole lot of more benefits because it didn't boil for a very long time. He did not destroy a whole lot. Okay. So I want to encourage you now, knowing that we can actually have our own pharmacy in our backyard that's all natural. I encourage you to make a herb garden in your yard. It doesn't take a lot of space, creativity, variety of herbs, things that you know you would be using, things that you use in the kitchen, things that you know has the properties that will help you. One of the things that I want to make you aware of, many people have allergies and sensitivities. Each person should uh, become familiar with anything that they're allergic to, whether it be a herb or fruit or a food type or even an environment. Learn your allergy because the herbs are for healing, but people with allergy, it's not who is allergic to certain herbs should stay away from it because the benefit will not be there. Actually, an adverse effect would take place. So that is something that we should consider when we are approaching the use of herbs. In summary, herbs have always been the natural cure for myriads of ailments, and a return to approaching herbs as the natural go-to is a great uh, is a great advantage to natural healing. The many ways to utilize herbs, whether as a tonic, a tea, a salve, a syrup, um, are as close to us as our backyards or a walk in the forest or in the woods. They're all around us. And a lot of things that we considered weeds at one time, um, you'd find that they are very powerful medicine with benefits. Another thing I would remind you is that watch your animals. If you have animals in your yard, watch your animals and their behavior with the plants. Animals will go to plants that have healing benefits, that are nutritious, that are loaded with the vitamins and minerals and everything that the body needs. And they are getting it, they're aware of it. Yeah, it's put it in them intrinsically, and they know it. And a lot of what we know from herbs, we garnered from watching animals. So watch your animals. They'll help you to point out what is useful in your yard and what is not. Okay. And then, of course, um, if we have our own herbs growing in our yard, then we don't really have to worry about store-bought seasonings. We have it right there. We can make our own seasonings, and we have the ability to. And going back to your own backyard gives you a healthy advantage in approaching good health. So I would encourage you, let's learn the herbs. Let's go back to using them. Let's use them with wisdom because the herbs are for the healing of the nations. Okay. And that brings our presentation to an end. And again, these were my two sources. Again, that is the Elementary Treatise in Herbology by Dr. Edward Shook, and also Jude's Herbal Home Remedies by Master Herbalist Jude Williams. So at this time, I will. We can take comments or questions. I do hope that everybody enjoyed the presentation, and that um, if you didn't know before, that you did learn something new. So at this time, I would like to turn it back over to our host, Dr. Lincoln Carter.
Thank you very much. Excellent presentation, very informative.
Raise
and
it.
easy to understand. I'm certain that somebody might have a question or comment. So at this time, it's your turn. Any questions, any comments? Yes, that's Juliet.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Good
Hello,
evening.
hello. I really appreciate the presentation. and really very informative, and I appreciate it. And we can always talk about it because sometimes there's so many things, information online or um, but these are easily grown and found in the yard or
Mhm.
in the forests or gardens, and they're naturally growing and organic as well. So it's the best, and they're locally found. Even in the Caribbean is the best source as well because they're the soil and the quality of air and the water are best sourced. So it's really, if you get opportunity, that would be like really, really best source. Sorry, alarm went on. But I do appreciate it, and can always be new learning all the time. Thank you.
You are quite welcome, Nurse
Thank,
Juliet.
thank you very much, Robina Wilkinson.
Hi, good evening. Yes,
Good
Good
great.
evening.
evening.
Um, I threw in late, so maybe you can help me out. What do you use if you have a cold but you're recuperating and you have this constant cough?
Well, for the constant cough, is it a wet cough or a dry cough?
Dry cough,
It's a dry
mostly.
cough. Okay. Um, what you would need is something to actually uh, calm down the irritation, because if it's a dry cough, there's no mucus depth to actually expectorate. But what is happening is the irritation from the coughing, maybe from the past, it's still present, and your throat is raw. I would suggest ginger and honey, a mixture of ginger and honey, that would soothe the throat and help to get it back to where it needs to be. Um, Ginger, um, honey, lemon, that mixture.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, yes, Nurse Juliet.
Yes. For I actually my daughter was having cough for almost 2 weeks, and it's just sometimes they're into like it's because it's cold seasons and everything. Their stamina goes down. Good thing we always have thyme, raw thyme or dried thyme, candy, and ginger. And I have the mullein leaves, actually, the dried leaves
Mm-hmm.
ordered. And they you can stack all these dried herbs and they last very long as long as you put them and store them in dry um, dry warm place, so it's not really like direct sun or so like in
Right.
your cupboard. So they have to be sealed and dry, and they last very long, and thus it helps her because she plays sports, so it's loosen her calf, um, and also limes and raw honey. So it's actually I did last night and this morning, and I didn't occur to me. But yes, thank you for the info.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. And what
Wonderful.
what Nurse Juliet said is uh is so important, because one of the things that wasn't mentioned is the storage. And herbs can last a very long time if stored properly, and they should be stored in a dark, dry place, not a moist place, and away from the sunlight, and using bottles as storage containers help to really preserve. I also want to mention that in preparation of your herbs, use stainless steel, never aluminum. Um, you can use porcelain in your preparations, crushing herbs, and also glass in your preparation, but you want to stay away from aluminum, stainless steel, glass, or porcelain or wood. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Cohen. There's another hand raised. Charlotte Hepzibah.
Hey, Charette, what do you say?
Nothing much. I wanted to just comment on the mullein. I know a son in Canada, he's in Prince Edward Island. He was sick the other day and he had a mullein plant. He actually has a plant. And he said he made a tea and he was saying how good it was for him. So I guess that's one of those plants that you could probably get up there, but it'd be good if that's something that that you can just have, like you say, for persons to have, especially going into flu season. But I wanted to ask you also to speak more about, because we notice that cannabis, it has become commercial right now, but it has, can you give more or just a little bit more insight on some of the benefits from it? Because I know people do it recreationally, but it actually has medicinal benefits.
Yes. Okay. Now, when it comes to cannabis, you're opening up a whole life. You need a whole platform, a whole night just for cannabis alone. But the cannabis has been on the medical schedule from ancient times, dating all the way back to Egypt. I have also herbs in traditional Chinese medicine that calls for cannabis, Ayurvedic medicine that calls for cannabis. It is only within the last 100+ years that cannabis has become demonized. And that demonization was as a result of the pharmaceutical industry wanting to actually remove it so that its benefits could be replaced by synthetic items. The medicinal benefits are very, very wide. For instance, I spoke earlier of insomnia. It also can help as an appetite enhancer. It's some people who have cancer have used it as a pain reliever. It's something that helps them to cope with pain. So there are benefits, and the side effects from marijuana is not like the side effects that you would get from pharmaceuticals. For instance, in my example that I used, the client who was suffering insomnia, before she came to me asking to help with insomnia, she was given a very powerful sleep aid from the medical doctor that actually started hallucinating. And that's when she became afraid. And she had no problem with drinking the cannabis tea and getting up in the morning and going about her regular business. She got a sleep in, because sleep deprivation is another complicated thing on its own. So you definitely don't want to be grieving and stress and also being deprived from sleep. So she was benefited. Because of the tall dollars that went into demonization of the cannabis plant, a lot of people still has it stigmatized as a dangerous drug. But cannabis is less dangerous than the pharmaceuticals, in my opinion. And others might have their own opinion about it. But as a natural plant, I see this is beneficial for man in the healing process. I hope that helps. But like I said, when we're talking about cannabis, we'd have to actually open a platform specifically for cannabis.
And may I add quickly?
Yes, sir.
There are a long list of benefits of cannabis, such as helping in the treatment of AIDS, cancer, glaucoma, multiple sclerosis, spinal cord injuries, seizures, chronic pain, and other maladies. So it does have lots of benefits. It is sad that it had to be demonized, but the argument for its benefits is taking a foothold, and we do appreciate that. I hope that most countries will get to the point where they just take off that foolish illegalization, because it is not really an illegal substance. The problem is that it is abused, especially in terms of the smoking, because of the what it is, the
THC.
content, you see. So that is the main problem, because it does cause, you know, impacts on the brain when it is smoked. But the tea is excellent. The tea and the oils and the whole plant itself has so many other uses. So the hemp is excellent as a protein.
Mhm.
So yes, so it's good as a food and also as a medicine.
Yes.
And medicine is our food. Our food is medicine anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anybody? Oh, sorry.
yeah, no, just to tag on because you brought up so much. Wanted to say that before there was nylon, the plastic nylon made from petroleum, the plant stem was actually used as hemp rope. And that was another commercialized area that the pharmaceutical wanted to eliminate. They were making nylon from petrochemicals, so definitely they wanted that on the market and replacing hemp rope. So there's so much reasons why it is demonized. But like I said, and you'd agree, Dr. Cardi, that you need a whole platform just for that topic. But I do think that sufficient was given to know that what you have been told or misled about is not necessarily so. Okay. See Emma Vic with a hand raise.
Yes, Vic.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. If you notice that marijuana is demonized and illegal, but alcohol isn't. No, really, think about it. Yeah. And I just wanted to back up something that you mentioned about the aloe vera leaf. If you ever have a nasty burn, that's the go-to.
Yep.
Because I have super sensitive skin in that I mark so easily. And I got a nasty burn. I was actually Miss Juliet's aunt. She was my landlord at the time, and she said, just cut an aloe leaf. She had aloe in her kitchen and put it on it. And I'm like, yeah. But I did it anyway. And I got no scar, zero scar. That's the first time I didn't get a scar from a burn, no scarring at all. And it healed. The next morning, there was no burning,
That's right.
none, no burning at all. So I just wanted to back up what you said on that. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
And
Great program, great information.
thank you.
Thank you.
Right. And just to add some information on the acne. Acne was the first thing you mentioned, Cohen. And there are lots of individuals who have an adverse reaction to onion, especially raw onion. And they may not like the odor of the onion or the burn of the eyes, as the case might be, because it is so close to the eyes. So, and there are other alternatives.
Yes,
and I just mentioned one other excellent alternative, and that's apple cider vinegar. Lots of people have apple cider vinegar around their homes, and
yes.
that is an excellent antimicrobial because it's mainly bacteria and fungi. Those are the main reasons for acne. And so you can use a diluted solution of apple cider vinegar, like say 1 part of apple cider vinegar to 3 parts of water. You dilute it, you cleanse your skin, and then you apply it with a cotton swab. Let it sit for about 5 to 20 seconds, and then you rinse it off. And you do that about 1 or 2 times per day, and that's fine. But you would not want to use the raw apple cider vinegar because that could irritate the skin. Yes, so I just thought of adding that as an alternative for those individuals who may not
Like the onions.
the raw onion. Yes. Any other questions, comments? Any particular herb you want to get more information on? Now is the time to ask. No?
Okay. Quiet platform tonight. But one of the things, Dr. Cardi, um, just like what Nurse Juliet was doing, encouraging people to look right in the kitchen cabinet and look in the yard and look around them. We have a lot of things you'd find, for instance, about 3 or 4 years ago, we went through total global lockdown. Each country was locked down, and many people had it worse than others. Now, in a case like that, if something like that was to happen again and you need medicine or something occurs and you need a quick solution, but you're not being allowed to go and they're not hearing about the emergency, knowledge of herbs and what's around you becomes becomes your best friend. So that is a help, a big help. And I see my good friend, Brother CJ Collins, Baltimore, ask, "What is a good tea?" Depends on what you want to accomplish. If you're looking for something to help you go to sleep, then you could try peppermint. Any plant with a purple flower would give you a sedative effect. So um, there's chamomile is included in that, and one of the things too, if that's if it was sleep. If it's for something else, then there are you look at the classifications of the herbs and make an infusion from that for that benefit. But drinking tea, if it's just for a leisure, then it's your choice of the plant, whichever plant you like. That could be made as a tea, you can use as a tea. For instance, there are a lot of leaves and a lot of the fruit trees that native to us that has powerful medicinal benefits and taste great. Um, you have mango leaves, you have tamarind leaves, you have guava leaves, you have soursop leaves. You have so many um, different things that has been provided for us by our creator that we discard or are ignorant about that can benefit us, tastes great, and does a job at the same time. And that's what you want. You don't want empty asthma. Okay. From Gerald. Okay. I have there's something for asthma here, and let me just get that for you. But CJ, I hope I answered that for you.
Okay, while you're looking for that, another hand up from Nurse Juliet.
Yes.
Go right ahead, Nurse.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yes, the thing is, what I'm noticing, like most of the time, like if I ignore my sore throat or body aches, I know there are only two things that I'm maybe exhausted, and I'm not supporting my body by taking nutrients from food, from natural food sources, or even supplementing good supplements, or I'm lacking sleep or rest. So those are main things that I would know my immune system would be compromised, and I will pick up infection or from bacteria, viruses fast. And my main thing that I in my cupboard or in my basket would be garlic, a lot of onion, a lot of ginger, fresh thyme, dried thyme, rosemary, and one main ingredient is oregano.
Yep.
Oregano is very, very potent, and I have the oil,
Mm-hmm.
the good sourced oil, and just a few drops of that under the tongue, and it will cut off my sneezing, my sore throat, or even inflame gums. Or main thing, if I pass that 3 day or 4 day period, then because the virus or bacteria overcomes the normal flora of our gut or our respiratory tract in our mouth, they overcome the body. And if we suffer the infection or the symptoms, the bacteria or virus already overcome our immune system. And so we gotta support the body as much as we can. And those are the main ingredients that I know I would have. Of course, I will have the vitamin C if I'm don't have much um, time to eat, especially in America, where there's the hustle and bustle, demands of daily activities or work, and I must supplement with my vitamin C and vitamin D and zinc and all that stuff. But main ingredient that I would have as herbs, I would have also moringa. Moringa is very much sourced, especially in the tropics, and you can dry that, air dry. Um, you can air dry it, not really sun dry because it will turn brown or really dark green. But air dry it, you could still see like you retain the green color, the chlorophyll, and other nutrients with it. You can actually blend that to make a powdered moringa and add it into your smoothie or in your cereal, and it's naturally sweet. If you have not tried it, you can try that, and it has a lot of nutrients in it, and it's packed with vitamin C and iron and all the body's needs. So our body is really complex, but it just need these micronutrients and vitamins that it needed. And also most of our herbs are antioxidants and antiviral, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatory. So the more that we utilize all this from our backyard, which are naturally growing, then the better that we support our body's immune system to fight against infection or inflammation. So that's just I wanted to share as well. The oregano, one of my favorite herbs. So thank you.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. And I'm oregano is one of your favorite herbs. It's my actually primary antimicrobial. And I didn't mention because there was so much things, various herbs to mention, but one of the things that I would like to reiterate, having oregano plants, fresh oregano, oil of oregano, it will help you so much during this cold and flu season. But one of the things when we're talking about cold and flu and the season for it, what we have to look at is making sure that our immune system is strong enough, and that is based on what we are eating and also the cleanness of our body system uh, going into the winter season. These are cures or helps to alleviate problems once they come up in the winter season. But prevention is better than cure. If cure comes, then you have a natural remedy. But preparing the body ahead of time, preparation to come into the season gives you a better chance. You are equipped, you are shielded, you are armored to fight against a host of onslaughts that come on during the season. So I really appreciate that. Nurse Juliet, especially about the oregano. And moringa itself is a plant that you could spend a day on the platform talking about in itself because it is classified as king of herbs. And the benefits are very, it's so wide. But I appreciate that. But to get to the answer to the question about the asthma, we mentioned some herbs already on the platform. Last week I mentioned uh, a recipe called garlic syrup, which is crushed garlic, purified water, honey with lemon. You can also add ginger and cayenne. Garlic itself is very potent for the asthma condition. Thyme is also good for the asthmatic condition. And I would suggest that same oregano also using these either standalones or in combinations as infusions, as teas, would benefit uh, relieving the asthma condition. So I hope that these help to some degree to help with the question about the asthma. There are things that are right around you that you can use to help alleviate the stress of having asthma. So I hope that answered. And
okay, thank you very much. And we do have another hand up. Victoria.
Okay, as Nurse Juliet was talking about moringa, I have a question. How much moringa is okay to take in a day?
okay, that like all things, I think moderation is key. To to drink a cup of moringa liquid, an 8-ounce cup of moringa liquid, is loaded with almost all of the vitamins and minerals that your body would need. And there are certain limits to what the body can take in vitamins and in minerals. That's why you have a daily recommended amount to actually to meet those needs. When we go above, sometimes we actually create a situation. So if you're going to drink it on a daily basis, I don't think that you would need more than an 8-ounce glass of an infusion of moringa leaves, if that's where you want to go. But the flowers are also edible, getting the same benefit. The seeds are also benefit and actually are very, very potent. I don't know if anybody's familiar with chewing the moringa seeds and drinking water after it.
I do.
Sweet, hey.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
What I'm concerned about is that I never make moringa tea. Like I never make an infusion. What I do is like if I'm eating and I have a gravy, I put the moringa powder and mix it in. For instance, if I was eating, I don't eat potatoes, mashed bananas, right? Green bananas, I would put in a heaping teaspoon of dried moringa. That's why I always wonder, am I taking too much or am I not putting enough, So I don't have a reaction to it, but I need to know like how much is okay or how much is enough.
And that's another thing, Imovik. Everybody's unique, and your body's toleration might be different from another person's. If you're not having an adverse effect, which you being already very sensitive
Yes.
to your allergies, if there was a negative effect for you, you'd have already experienced it. And that is one of the things that every individual has to look for. Their position with the plant. Is it helpful for me, or or am I allergic to it?
I know I'm not allergic to it, but because I have very low heme iron, I always wonder about. I take it for that purpose because
Okay.
I'm not really a meat eater. I eat meat every now and then, but I am concerned about my iron.
Yes, using it for source of iron.
Yes. May I add?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Since the question is on how much, it's not very easy to overdose on plants, especially if you're using them in teas and salads and so forth. But if you're gonna take large amounts, say you're using it as a whole meal, then you would be taking too much. And it could be dangerous. Consuming too much moringa could be dangerous. In fact, it could even be fatal. So but you can know if you're experiencing upset stomach, nausea, heartburn, diarrhea, um, gaseous distension. Those are some of the symptoms you would have as it relates to too much moringa.
No, when you
And
say, oh, excuse me, go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm finished. Yes,
No,
and
what? No, go ahead.
thank you. And you also mentioned the concern with the iron.
Yes.
Overdosing can also lead to high iron levels, so that is something you'd want to watch. Both moringa and the spirulina. Spirulina is extremely high in iron as well. So for individuals who are healthy, you would not want to use too much spirulina. In fact, one would suggest that men would use spirulina in a sort of, how must I put it, like a rotating kind of manner. You take it, say, a week, 2 weeks, and you take a break, and then you go back and take it again another week or two, and then you take a break. But if you are, say, anemic, low in iron, then you'd want to, take it probably like on a daily basis to help to build that iron. Women, especially those in the menstrual periods, because you're losing blood on a regular basis, then the iron levels would be going down. So they could use spirulina a little bit more often than men would to help to boost that iron. And you also have spinach. But the difference between spinach and spirulina is that spirulina has about 40 times as much iron as spinach. So that gives you an idea of how high the iron content in spirulina is. I'm not sure how the moringa compares with spinach in terms of the iron content, but it is fairly high as well. Another problem with the moringa is that because of the calcium oxalate, then in it, it could increase your levels of calcium oxalate, and that could cause risk for kidney stones because
Yes.
the crystalline stones will begin to develop. So, but apart from that, if you use it in moderation, then there should not be too many problems.
Okay, you mentioned
Yes.
using it as a whole meal, like
No, I didn't say to use it for meal.
no, I thought you said if you use it as a whole meal, it could be dangerous. But I put like a heaping teaspoon
Yeah, a
in.
teaspoon is fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Yes, I was just using that as a hypothetical
Oh,
case
okay.
of overdosing,
Okay.
you see.
Okay.
But not that one would expect to use so much moringa at one time.
No.
Okay, Nurse Juliet?
Yes, if you're not used to it, probably you may use it from a teaspoon, um, or gradually increase it, you know. But me, I'm so used to it. Growing up is part of our staples. We can have, we can use the leaves, the the um, the fruit, which is the stick. We could use the flowers, the seeds, in our meal. So I'm so used to it, and I didn't. Um, the reason why I want to jump in as well is because it has blood clotting properties. So those who are prone to blood clots or have problem in the heat, and they may easily develop blood clots. Moringa potentiate. It has properties to clot the
So
blood easily. So
oh,
maybe to use in caution. Those who are in blood thinners as well, it will interfere with the action of the medication. But those are just things that maybe I'd like to share. Thank you.
You're
so
welcome.
then I have to be careful with even the teaspoon of moringa.
Well, the thing is, sorry, Cohen. Um, Once you crushed or blend the moringa leaf, it may be a handful of leaf, and it will give you a teaspoon of the
Yes.
moringa. So maybe test it, but it will take time maybe to see the effect. Sorry, go ahead, please.
Yes, I was going to say that the amount that you are talking about, Imovic, doesn't seem like you are eating it in the quantity that Dr. Cardi was referring to. I think it sounds as if you are eating it in a moderation. You're using it like a teaspoon amount and not eating a bowl full and over an extended period of time. If you're not taking a multivitamin, then you're actually getting what you need from these sources also. Okay. But everything Rudra said is basically the same. Everybody's unique and you have to learn your body. You have to learn your body's tolerance. Because certain things that would be good for some might have an adverse effect to others.
Okay. I hear you.
That's quite true. And for example, in my experience, the moringa leaves, the moringa seeds, they do give me upset stomach, man. Sometimes, it's just dread. But the leaves, I eat the leaves and no problem at all. I have them in salads and so on, no problem. But the seeds, a completely different thing. So yes, it's a matter of knowing your body and how your body responds to certain things.
But you should only take about, is it like 6 seeds or not
Yes,
a handful? Or...
right.
Remember, the seeds are the seeds are the seeds might be the strongest part of the moringa plant, because remember, trees are growing from that seed, and that seed has everything to grow that big tree.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Anybody been using any particular herb and it has benefits which we may not have mentioned you want to share with us?
One herb I never hear spoken of is it has what we call rickrack at the edges. Like I don't know if you know what a rickrack pattern is. It's very thick, and it's called, some people call it wonder of the world, and in Creole it's called caractère les hommes, and I hear it's good for everything, but I never hear it mentioned when there's discussion of herbs on the platform. It's if you put it in a book and you close the book, it'll shoot roots, and then you can put it in soil and it'll grow. I'm sure you know what it is.
This is the leaf?
Yes, it's thick. It's a leaf, and it has this rickrack pattern in out around the leaf. And you know it.
Okay.
The light leaf.
Yes, it's also known as the love bush or the love vine.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it has lots of health benefits. Pain relief.
Yes.
Some people use it as an aphrodisiac, so it has those sexual as a sexual tonic.
Dr. Cardi, you're talking about the love vine?
The love
or the light leaf?
The love vine.
I've never heard
she's talking, I think she's talking about what we refer to as light leaf.
I think so.
It has the edges that she's describing. It's thick.
Yes, each edge, those little things on the edges are actually little plants. So they will grow.
Right.
Yes, we call it the love bush.
Okay.
It's the same plant we're talking about.
Yeah, the love vine though, our love vine actually is a vine itself, and it creates mucilage. And it is used as an aphrodisiac also.
Yes.
I'm not sure that one is mucilaginous, but if you mash it, it has juice.
Yes, slimy.
Yes. I think it's the life, whatever.
Yeah, it's also good for coughs as an expectorant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is. Headaches.
Yes.
And even menstrual pains and so forth. Yeah, it's the same plant.
Okay.
So.
Same.
Wow. I have a herb book that has the Caribbean herbs that in Creole, in Spanish, and in English to cover the entire Caribbean. And
Oh,
yes, and
yeah,
it's a good way to learn what people call things in other languages.
yeah. And in Creole, we call it caractérism.
Cartelizon.
So yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, interesting.
I think the plant that you're referring to as the love vine is what we call dada.
Dada?
Yeah, dada.
Okay.
In Caribbean.
Yes.
Yeah. It has these long things like spaghetti.
Right.
Yes, that's the love vine.
Okay.
But I think in Jamaica they call that the love bush as well.
The bush. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It would be Jamaicans to know an aphrodisiac.
Mm.
Sorry.
No, I like that for my Jamaican family, and because they know that they find that they have a great folk tradition in herbal medicine.
Yes, they do. They do.
Okay, President.
Okay, yes, just in passing, one person said that, talking about the love vine, that people should love their partner just as the love vine clings to the branches of trees and winds itself up to the trees. So it's closely attached to the trees. Yes.
Yeah. Person who said that is a poet. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. CJ asked about constipation. And one of the things with constipation, you want to you do want to get a relief, but at the same time you want to make sure that as much of, if not all of the waste is expelled from your colon. And there are some things that can give you immediate relief. For instance, there's a leaf called senna, and you can use the senna leaf or the senna pods and make a tea of it and drink that, and it'll give you a pass. But what you want to do is you want to increase your fiber intake. Um, Fiber, apple pectin fiber, other forms of vegetable and fruit fiber. You want to get that into your system. That helps to clean the colon and prevents the constipation. So if you want to have an elimination, a senna leaf or senna pod, you have a very effective herb called Cascara sagrada. They call it a sacred herb that is very, very effective in cleansing the colon. So those are two herbs right there, the senna and the cascara sagrada. Also, the aloe would help you too, but you only want to use it in, not in a large amount, but you want to use it to encourage a pass.
Yes, and in addition to increasing your fiber intake, one of the things you also want to do would be to eliminate those processed foods.
Yes.
White flour, white rice, macaroni, spaghetti, and all of those things, because they are agglutinating foods. That is, they're sticky. That's why you could make dumplings with flour. You see, it is sticky. And when you eat that dumpling, what does it do in the system? It agglutinates. So you chew it up, but then it sticks back together and causes other things to stick to it, and that would help to form the very hard, feces, make it difficult to pass and cause the constipation. And chronic constipation could also lead to diverticulitis, which could then lead to colon cancer. You see, so one would want to eliminate those processed foods, increase the fiber, as well as
Water.
increase the water intake. Yes, that hydration is so important.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have one more question.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, you were speaking about elimination problems and you mentioned senna leaves and senna pods. What about castor oil?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Just as effective. That's what we
Okay.
got as children.
Yep.
Yes,
We did not
yes.
have senna at the time. We got castor oil.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that castor will work.
It works.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
President Cardi is going on 8:41,
Yes. So I think
9:41.
yes. So we can wind up at this time. And very thankful for all those of you who are on the platform tonight. And do remember to invite a friend or two, or maybe even 10 others when you get the link to join us so that they too could benefit. And we want to praise you for giving us this opportunity to share with you. We want to ask someone to close